regularly scheduled programming will resume in 8 hours.
I used to work as a broadcast technician on a cruise ship. Part of the job was running the passenger TV system and making sure the right thing was on the right channel at the right time. Most of the channels ran pre-recorded programs, but 4 of them were live channels that we got off a satellite, CNN, ESPN, and 2 others I forget. The ship's satellite dish was supposed to automatically track the satellite as the ship moved, but when the ship would do a 180-degree turn pulling out of port, the dish couldn't keep up, and I'd have to go to the broadcast room and manually retune the dish. This meant going onto the internet to look up the azimuth and elevation for the satellite, which was different depending on where we were on Earth. Without the Oz and L, I had no way to know which way to point the dish.
In an effort to save money and bandwidth, one day the company decreed that between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. the ship's internet would be limited to the passenger internet cafe and essential crew use only, and the broadcast technician was one of the jobs not on the list of essential crew. I made a case to the cruise director and hotel director that this would cause problems if we lost the satellite dish during this time, but they were unconvinced. So I waited. A few days later, as we were pulling out of port around noon, the satellite dish lost contact with the satellite. I sent an email to the cruise director and CC'd the hotel director to let them know that our satellite TV channels were down, and I'd be able to get them back up just as soon as I had access to the internet at 8 p.m. that night.
About 15 minutes later, I was CC'd on an email from the hotel director to the IT department that said, "Please turn on the broadcast technicians' internet access and add them to the essential crew list." /edit. You could send emails to addresses within the ship's network without a connection to the internet. You couldn't send emails off the ship without a connection to the internet. Funny how warnings don't work until reality hits.
What are the odds the manager thought he was bluffing until a swarm of angry complaints rolled in that their TV was out and the manager having to tell them that the reason it was out was because the person responsible to fix the issue couldn't because of crappy management.
Having a degree in broadcast engineering, I'm now annoyed that I didn't realize this job existed when I was in my 20s.
We have a saying, nothing is a problem until it is a crisis. For example, we host server last-ditch off-site data backups to their backups for a third-party company. And do it on Friday before their scheduled weekend backups, regular as clockwork, and have done for years. This morning the company required us to add another backup, but the requirements stated that this needs to be done on a Monday, so that their backups can be done on a Friday. This is of course at odds with every other backup. And so I contacted my boss saying that we should query this because if they have changed to doing their backups on a Friday during our backup for their backups, well, that could easily jeopardize their backup schema.
Boss just shrugged his shoulders and added it to the Friday schedule. Sigh. Now awaiting the crises to hit hard during the compliance team's next visit. Try being a computer security tech or expert of any kind. How much does it cost to put in preventative security? Oh, that's too much. After a breach. How much does IT cost for remediation? We're gonna go bankrupt. Me, yup. That is how to handle a problem. Very well done, Up.
It never fails to amaze me how arbitrarily pig-headed people in an organization can be about stuff that, in the very big picture, doesn't really matter that much. Like one more person getting internet access. Penny wise, pound foolish seems to be the way so many people operate. Should have told them to go out into the bay and do a slow 360 with the ship till the dish reacquires. Note: depending on your IT department, we can normally accomplish stuff like this on your behalf since we know some don't really have a voice wizard.
Why don't managers listen to their employees?
I wonder if they're as blasé over iceberg warnings. How complex is the maths for manually pointing the dish once you find the data online? Or do you just have to input that information and let the dish do the calculations itself? I wouldn't have even notified them and waited for someone to contact me. My cruise ship does a lot of world voyages, so there's a bit more satellite hitting, but it's fairly routine in the vast majority of the world. Sometimes I have to remind guests where we are. Norwegian fjords tend to block our angles to get to satellites. I'm uninterested in the obvious. You used ship intranet to email, but how did you look up the satellite position without using satellite internet to do it? I thought cruise ship internet was satellite. So once it's gone, it's not there to look up from? One satellite for TV. One for internet. The internet one was more reliable. Faster to follow the satellite. This shot has navigated right into my heart. The elevation would have been trickier. But for the azimuth, couldn't you have gone with a compass just before you left port? Write down what angle it was pointing at, and move it back to that direction after the turn? Would that have gotten close enough for it to reacquire and take over tracking again by itself? Excellent MC. Although given their pig-headed initial response, I wouldn't have been surprised if they had someone rush down to your station with an old-fashioned sextant and told you to get done. Feels like you were essential crew use? I'm so glad I am off ships. The bullshit that cruise directors pull and hotel directors who think they are God's gift is unbelievable and cringeworthy.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.